In this video, we'll see how to use Python in Visual Studio 2017 for Windows. Installing Python in Visual Studio. You can choose to install the Python development tools while installing Visual Studio itself. But if you already have Visual Studio installed, just run the installer. So let's go over here. Visual Studio installer. And now here, select Modify. Now here you can check the Python development option. On my computer I have it already installed, but if you don't have it, just check this checkbox over here and click Modify. Then follow the instructions to complete the installation. After installation complete, let's open Visual Studio. Now I want to open the interactive window, so let's go to Tools, Python Interactive Window. Or we could use this Alt+I shortcut. Okay, now here we have our interactive window. Let's check out if it works. We can use the interactive window as a calculator, so 5 plus 6, enter 11, yes. Or we can use a Python command like print ABC. Yeah, it works. And if it works, it means the Python development tools were installed correctly and you're fine to go with Python in Visual Studio. Now, suppose you want to open a new project. All we have to do is go to File, New, Project. On the left, we select Python, and on the right, we can see all the available templates. So you can see that here we have Bot Web project, Django Web project, Flask Web project, Iron Python application, Python application, and Pygame using PyConnect, Pivot project, and so on. Lots of stuff. Now we want just a basic Python application, so let's select this option, Python application. Here's a description, a project for creating a command line application. And here, let's choose a name like example. And here you can specify the location of your project. Now we are ready to go, so let's click OK. After the project is created, you can see it in the Solution Explorer. Here is our Solution Explorer. We have one solution called example. Here it is. And this solution contains one project, also called example. The project contains Python environments with all the interpreters that are available to you, references, search paths, and first of all, the example.py file, which is also open here and ready for editing. Now, before we move on, let's concentrate on virtual environments. In Python, we use virtual environments to deal with the problem of dependencies on specific versions of other packages. We usually use a single virtual environment for a single project or for a couple of projects. All the dependencies the project has are enclosed in its virtual environment and isolated from other projects. To add a virtual environment for your project, right-click on Python environments in the Solution Explorer. Select Add Virtual Environment and set the location and base interpreter for your environment. Now here is the location, and the base interpreter should be Python 3.7. By default, the location is a subfolder in your project. Hit Create. Now the environment is created and you can expand it in the Solution Explorer to view the packages that were installed. It's over here. Now we have pip and setup tools already installed. With your virtual environment created, you can install packages. Let's install NumPy. So right-click on your virtual environment and select Install Python Package. In the search box, type NumPy. And select pip install NumPy from PyPy. PyPy, or Python Package Index, is the Python counterpart of NuGet in the .NET world. Here in the output window, you can follow what's going on. Now we have the message, successfully installed NumPy. So after the installation is complete, you can expand the virtual environment in the Solution Explorer. So we can close the Python environment here. And you can see that NumPy was actually installed. Typing code in Visual Studio. Now let's see how to type code in our example.py file. As you type your code, you can make use of IntelliSense, code completion, and signature hints. So type slowly the following code and watch how they work. Here we have num equals 17. Enter. Text equals ABC. Enter. Now we have long text equals, and now I want to use this variable over here, text, and as I type it, watch how code completion and IntelliSense work. So I start typing T, and we already have the IntelliSense over here, and we can already see our text variable over here. So all I have to do is double click on that, and we have code completion over here, times num, and now I need num, so NU, and here it is, num. And here you can see how IntelliSense works. And now I can hover over one of the variables, text, and I can see that it's a string. And num is an int. Now let's use a function. How about print? When I open the parentheses, I get some signature hint. So it says I can use a value now. For example, long text. And again, I have it over here. So here we can see what's available in the print function. We have the separator, we have the and the file keyword parameters. So it's very helpful. Now print long text and enter. Now I want to run this code. So I can go to debug and press start debugging. The console opens and the program runs. Now let's make it a bit bigger because it's hardly visible. Okay, better. Now press any key to continue. Alternatively, we can just press this button over here. It also runs the program. Or the fastest way is to hit F5 on your keyboard and the program runs as well. Debugger. You can debug your Python code in Visual Studio. So in order to debug this code, we have to set a breakpoint. Let's set a breakpoint over here. All we have to do is click on this gray strip on the left. This red dot means a breakpoint, and program execution will stop over here and wait for our action. So let's run the program again, F5. As we can see, the execution stopped over here, and now we can hover over the code to see the values of the variables at this point. For example, we know that the num variable was set to 17 and the text variable was set to the text ABC. So when we hover over text here, we can see the value ABC. When we hover over num here, we can see the value 17. When debugging our program, we can inspect and change the values of variables at runtime. So here we have the autos window with our two variables defined in the program, num, text, with a value and type. We can also watch the locals, like name, dog, package, loader, spec, and so on. And also our two variables defined in the program, num and text. Now we can use these buttons over here. Show next statement, step into. This is used especially if we have a function and want to step into the function. Step over, step out, if we want to step out of a function, for example. Now let's click here, step over, and we're moving down to the next statement. Now this arrow over here tells us that now we are at this line of code. Now this line of code has already been executed, which means the value of long text was already set. And now when we hover over this variable, we can see the value. Now we can press continue to go on with the execution. And here is our program. Okay, to remove the breakpoint, we can just click on it and it disappears. Interactive window. Now here we have our interactive window. First of all, we can clear it by pressing this button, clear screen. Fine, now the window is ready to work. We already saw how to use it as a calculator and how to run code. We can also use the interactive window to test our code, which is over here in the file. So suppose we want to run this line of code. All we have to do is go to this line and press Ctrl plus Enter. What happens is this line of code is transferred to the interactive window and also executed. Now we can continue doing this by pressing Ctrl Enter, and the next statements will be carried over from the file to the interactive window. We can also right-click on a line of code and select Send to Interactive. This also sends this line of code to the interactive window. And now let's use Ctrl Enter, and the last line of code was moved to the interactive window and also executed. Now let's clear this window for a moment. Now we can also select a bigger portion of the program, like for example a couple of lines, and send them all using Ctrl Enter to the interactive window. And here they are. Well, what we saw in this video is just the basics of using Python in Visual Studio, but Visual Studio is really a powerful IDE and you can do lots of stuff with Python in it. So I encourage you to choose Visual Studio as your Python IDE. It's really great. Okay, that's it for this video. If you like it, a thumbs up would be great. Also, make sure to subscribe for future videos. If you want to leave a comment or ask a question, you're welcome to do so. Thanks for watching.